Axiom is on the verge of being all killed by Ragnarok, but they have sent out their Acer representative, MMA, to see if he can turn things around.
Yeah, and we were wondering a little bit why. We were talking about it during the break, and one of the things that we spoke of is Alicia dominating the IPL Korean qualifier out of the swamp. So the choice to go for MMA, why do you make this choice? Is MMA so good? Has he some potential that he hasn't shown just yet? Is it because you want to have the Acer representative also out in the booth? Or is it because in the IPL qualifier he actually took down Ragnarok with a 2-0?
Yeah, I mean he has some history certainly with this guy. Can he make it a 3-0?
The problem is that he lost against his next opponent, against the first with a 2-0 in the next round of the IPL qualifier. And you don't only need to defeat Ragnarok, it's only the first step. Right now you need a reverse L-kill if you want to turn this thing around.
I know, it's funny is if they send him out against Ragnarok and he wins, then they could send first up. They're like, alright, well you beat this guy before, but the guy who beat you can also come out and kill you now in Team League. It's kind of ironic he has some history with both players that you may face today in Team League. Here's information about next week's Code A. It's going to be at 6:10. It is going to be the final round 3, day 2.
Amongst the games, Flash versus Rain. It's going to be on Wednesday. And
make sure not to miss it.
Yeah, a little bit talking about the IPL qualifier and Heart of the Swarm. We have so little data on Heart of the Swarm right now that we are, of course, looking at everything that we've got. And if you look at Alicia didn't play a Zerg. He played against Squill, took him out with a 2-0. He took down Trader, really strong performance here. Was able to succeed versus Sting, took out Tails, and then in the final was able to beat another Protoss player. So PvP stylish, he would be the best choice, and I feel that one of the players that LGIM will definitely send out is going to be Seed, so you need someone who's strong against Protoss. But first of all, you need to defeat Ragnarok, and this is the mission that MMA has now.
Yeah, this is not going to be an easy mission. And, you know, this is a good matchup if you look at the way that balance and everything is shifting the metagame right now of Heart of the Swarm. It's a good matchup. But like you said, he has to play against Protoss players potentially like Seed. I think that Seed will come out today for sure if Ragnarok loses any of his games. You also have MC potentially, but since he's been practicing so much for Wings of Liberty for his round of 8 match, he probably won't come out. But there are players like First as well, who already beat MMA.
I'm completely frank with you. What I want to see from MMA is I want to see aggression now. He has to do one of those things that Zerg struggles with. It's nice if you show that you can go into a macro game. We all appreciate it, but at this point, you have to edge out a win. And what you can do is Hellbats are one of the things that everyone talks about. Reapers are one of the things that everyone talks about in this matchup. Two very strong weapons that you have in your arsenal. So I want MMA to use them. I want to see aggression.
He needs to, you know, at least in one of these series, go for some sort of aggressive move. Because right now, if you give the Zerg player time to get the Hydras, the Roaches, and the Vipers out, there's not a very good tech switch you can make. You need to have something to deal with the Vipers. You got to have some sort of Viking Force or Ghost, which are even harder to get to try to snipe or try to EMP. It's awkward once the Viper's out. If you just sit back and then you're on the same amount of bases as Zerg, but he has Vipers and you don't have an answer for them, how are you going to take a fight?
And also, if you go for a very strong Bioforce, then we might even see Ultralisk again. That's what we saw already in the game before.
We can see a huge difference in Ultralisk in Heart of the Swarm and in Wings of Liberty. Yep. They were actually able to walk up the ramp and get through that, which has never happened before, ever, not even one time in Wings of Liberty. But this time, the Ultras, 8 of them got inside.
I would really like to see an aggressive game. We talked about the changes already a little bit. I want to point this out later when we jump into the game once again. But yeah, MMA, I feel he has to pull something off. And if he doesn't, well, obviously if he doesn't stop Ragnarok, it's over. But he needs to pull something off. He was able to do it twice in the best of 3 that he played against Ragnarok in the IPL Korean qualifier. And now he has to do it again. On the other hand, Ragnarok knows what kind of style MMA is most likely going to play against him. So maybe with the momentum that he already built up, he's now able to take down MMA.
Yeah, Ragnarok could do this. He could actually all-kill his first time playing for LGIM in the Team League. Just come in and say, you know what, I am a changed man. I'm much better than I was before. You guys are going to have to take me seriously. And definitely he's gotten some booth experience, I would say, out of this already today.
And another thing that you should not forget about is that if you play in an online qualifier, you are always sitting at home in an environment that you know, where you can relax. Here it is different. I'm not saying that MMA is getting nervous in the booth. This guy has I don't know how many hundred games that he played in the GSL booth and in tournaments abroad. But it's definitely a different setting than it is at home. So this might affect a game like this too. So we're looking always at matches that we can compare this to. And the only thing that we have these days is an online
Just
tournament.
look at, for example, we saw last week, who was it for MVP? Who totally choked, the Zerg player whose name avoids me for some reason, Terror or something like this?
Yeah, Terror.
He came out and he basically totally choked against his Pro House opponent and lost the match. And that's why you need to have experience. That's why putting Ragnarok out now to just put him out, field him first, make sure that he gets some experience in the booth is important because one day, if he continues his career successfully, he will be like MMA where he's played hundreds of games in the booth and he's not phased by anything. But it's really important to put a player like that out early, in the preseason especially.
It was also a little bit funny during the break. I went to the bathroom and it was kind of like the entire LGIM lineup was in there and all of them were like, yeah, probably gonna play today. They all just looking at this. Was like, I was talking to MC. I was like, MC, what are you guys doing? Make sure tell Ragnarok he's allowed to take like 2 down, but leave a few for the rest of you. I want to see more players. He's like, sorry, not gonna happen.
Yeah, everybody seems pretty confident. He's just gonna take it on the LGIM team.
MC was just like, sorry, today no more players from us. We can't talk. Next time it's fine. We're gonna show some new players, but today, sorry, dude, nothing I can do.
When I was talking to him, he's like, well, it's fine. We're gonna advance, and you'll see other players next time. I'm like, you guys are pretty confident. I mean, I know you're up here, and you're only 1 win away, but still. He's like, I think we'll be here. Is it tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know. We'll see.
So MC was actually in good spirits, but well, right now, let's talk a little bit not about MMA, but about Acer Axiom. I feel this is, on the one hand, it's really unfortunate. On the other hand, they have to be kind of happy that it's the preseason tournament. If they lose here, if MMA is not able to pull this incredible miracle off and take LGIM down within reverse all kill, then come on, that was not too bad.
It was good. I just didn't know if you did it intentionally or not, so I was like,
no. Yeah. So you have now this chance to look at this and it's like, okay, what went wrong? Were you guys nervous? Was there a problem? Was it just like bad luck, a bad day?
Yeah.
Or do we have to change
need to identify
something?
some issues here, maybe. Exactly.
Just analyze, okay, what's going on. And I feel this is much better it happening today. If they lose, I mean, we could see like a reverse all kill, but if MMA is not able to pull this off, then they will be out of the preseason tournament. But the next GSTL season, this is where it really counts. Yeah. This is where it's really, really important.
You want to figure everything out before then.
Yeah.
I want to mention that our format, which has been announced, you guys can look it up, is different. Yeah. It's a round-robin format, so it's much more forgiving to teams. You get to see your players fielded a lot. Even though it's best of 7 instead of best of 9, you're going to be playing against every other team. There's a ton of matches, so you get to see how different teams interact with each other. And even though one team may be strongly favored over another, there might be some upsets and people putting points on the board. It's going to be kind of like the Jupiter and Venus divisions that we had of the past, of course, just with one division.
Yeah. We're waiting a little bit for MMA, by the way. We're not quite sure what exactly is going on. Maybe there are a few technical difficulties. But I want to talk about something else. I know there's no answer to this question, but I just want to know your opinion. There's always this discussion going on. We have, of course, Pro League also going on with another team league. And we had this discussion already in Warcraft 3. It was the same issue. We have different types of how a league is run. We have the elimination system in here at the GSTL, then at Pro League you have for a few of those seasons just the format where the opponents already know who they face. And there's always this argument going on that in a match or in a league system like the GSTL uses with the elimination system, it's not really it doesn't really show the skill of a team, but there might be too much luck involved with an all kill.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? Because I personally have to say that I feel in a scenario like this, you have team strategy coming in that you don't have in the other system.
Yeah, there's definitely advantages and disadvantages to both. I actually like this system, the one that the GSTL uses, the all-kill format, slightly more. And I don't feel that an all-kill, for example, by Lenok that wins FXO a series means that FXO is not strong, because all the players that he lives with and trains with are the reason why he's as good as he is anyways. So, I mean, people who say that, he gets an all-kill, so it's only that one player who won the team league, not anybody else, I don't agree with that statement.
What I really like with the Pro League format is that they did something a little bit different from how we ran things in Warcraft 3. You know the players already in advance, but the thing is you put players out on a map and you can have so many, you can have a day where you face a team and you get exactly the matchups that you want, and you look at this and it's like, yeah, we got this.
Yeah.
And then the next day you have the face of the same team, you don't get your matchups, and suddenly you lose. But I feel that with the Pro League, they actually give their players time to just prepare for the map. So that's
There's
a little bit
lot of
different.
strategy that goes into that, for sure.
In Warcraft, we always had this that you announced it shortly before the team match. So suddenly you couldn't really prepare. So that takes a little bit of the random issue away.
Yeah. You know, I like that because when you have this kind of evolving strategy, you see two-player strategy they've been planning and thinking about for a long time on a specific map. Even the one player might be looking at the map like, oh, this is not a good map for Zerg, but I have a really specific strategy here. The other person has to think about that too. He's like, well, maybe he's going to all-in me because it's not a good macro map for Zerg. There's a lot of planning and thinking that goes into that. I like what Pro League is doing right now where they have both formats. You know, they're switching them out. And that's kind of, you know, it's weird. It's a longer season. With a longer season, I feel it works, but not with a shorter normal season.
To me, that's weird too, that you have like 8 seasons in one season. That's always a little bit strange.
To me, it starts to drag a little bit out if you do that. But
what I like about the format here is, yes, you cannot really prepare for a specific player because you don't know it in advance, but you know who are the key players of my opponent's team. And then preparing a strategy where you say, okay, guys, we look at this, we look at our opening match. This is plan A if our opening player wins. This is plan B. If he loses, then you are the second player. So you also prepare for this guy. You try to snipe him. You will most likely have a map choice here because we plan on this happening early in the team match. So then suddenly you have snipers and you have all-rounders.
It's very dynamic. Yeah, exactly. You and I are on the same page. Like, it's kind of weird, actually. It's kind of scary. But, you know, what I really like is in the all-kill format, you have all this planning that goes into it, but then you have to make decisions on the fly. You know, they may have been thinking Alicia's coming out. They're thinking of all these Zerg versus Pro strategies maybe they're going to see, and then suddenly MMA comes out and they're like, all right, well, we didn't think about this. We got to make some decisions right now. We thought about the possibility, but that wasn't really what we planned, and you have to make some decisions on the fly at that moment.
It sometimes also blows my mind when you talk to teams. I mean, we have teams that really think a lot about these strategies, about what they try to achieve. They have certain snipers, they have certain key players that they try to set into the spotlight, but then you have teams who just approach a match like this by like, you play second, you are third, and you are fourth.
And you know the maps, and that's it, basically.
Exactly, and I hear that, and I'm like, what? I'm like, you guys serious? I mean, I know you have a great lineup, but that seems to be a little bit awkward.
Yeah, that's a bit crazy. LGIM actually the team known for doing that.
Well, there's so many things that you can do, and so many things and pros and cons that you have to both systems, so I think in the end it's a matter of personal preference. Right now we have MMA in the booth though, and apparently the issues have been resolved, so we can go into maybe our final game today. Silver Sands will be the map that proves if MMA can do it again, can do what he did in the IPL Korean qualifier and take out Ragnarok, or if the LGIM player gets our first all-kill in Heart of the Swamp.
This is so far a good map for Terran versus Zerg. We saw Lucky try to use his Roach attack on this map. We could see Ragnarok do something similar. It's up to him, but for Axiom-Acer, all eyes are on MMA. He is their final hope here at the GSL Team League Pre-Season with Caldor and Wolf.
He could be the one. At the bottom right, Silver Sands, we have the Zerg player who could be the first all-killer in Heart of the Swarm in the Team League. It is for LGIM.
LGIM, Ragnarok.
The way they say his name, Ken makes it sound like he's a special type of tree, like a type of oak tree.
Yeah, I can certainly see that. Well, he has to introduce another player. Ken, let's hear it for the guy to the top left, our Charon player for Axiom-Acer. It is
Acer MMA.
There we go.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, if he screws up 3 letters.
Yeah, if he screws up 3 letters, he'll probably just re-record that one.
Dude, you have the wrong job.
He's like Slayer Zone, man. I'm like, shh, no.
Wolf, look at the production tab. I love it. We talked about this.
Gas.
He needs to be aggressive. He should do something that Zerg is struggling against. What is this? Reapers and Hellbats. Go for it. MMA with the aggression. The early gas.
And he picks the map, you know? And on this map, it's a special map because the ramp can be walled. Well, I'm not paused, but I can talk about this regardless. It's a wall that can be made with only a barracks and a depot, so you don't have to use that third depot to keep the drone scout out to hide the gas.
That's really, really good now, of course, for MMA. This map just works to his advantage, and I like that he is going for this. We talked about this a lot. So far, we had a lot of Zerg players in the GSTL Pre-Season doing quite well against Terran, but the funny thing is that all these Zergs, or most of these Zergs, were facing strategies that didn't incorporate anything of what Zerg is complaining a lot when you look in the scene. We had, as I said, the discussions on state of the game. We had cats analyzing very well what was going on. We have all these discussions going on Reddit. We have them on Team Liquid. So a lot of people say that the problem that you have against Terran when the Terran player plays an aggressive style in the early game is that you lose the map control and the Terran player is kind of dominating and setting the pace of the game. So if MMA can do this, if he's aggressive with, let's say, Rebirth and contains Ragnarok a little bit, transitions then he can do a lot of damage. Then he can take this series. And he's the one who's just putting the pieces into place.
Exactly. I'm trying to... MMA is trying to type in Korean, but his keyboard it can't switch, so I'm just seeing a bunch of letters, and I'm trying to think in my head of what the letters correspond to, but it looks like it's a problem with his hotkeys, and that's what they're asking him, so I think as soon as his hotkeys are reset, it may be one of these things with the building, enemy building selection. That's one thing that always gets people. I'm pretty sure Blizzard is going to, by release, make it so that that is not by default enabled, because that's been driving people crazy, like myself.
It's a weird change, too. It's like, the first time I saw that, I was clicking like a maniac. I was like, I have a bug, something's not working. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I'm like, oh, whoa, this is actually a feature?
It's the thing is, you don't notice it until it's really important. Then you're like, oh, I can't see what that is. I'm like, is that an evolution chamber going down, or is that a roach war? And I'm not sure.
This is one of those things, one of those scenarios where the good old one-liner, it's not a bug, it's a feature, is actually true.
Yeah, it's actually true. But I feel like that should just be at the very least, in your hotkeys, so that when you move from computers, like I do, I go to PC Bonks to practice most of the time. I'm always at a different place, and then every time I log in, I'm like, I forgot that setting. But we'll see what is actually the issue. It looks like, again, looks like he's ready. Yeah, he's typing in, he's typing in gibberish, but yeah, he's ready. And it looks like we're gonna start in 3, 2, 1. Game is resumed.
And here we go. Alright guys, we are back to business and the game will pop up on your screens in just a few seconds. Or so I thought until we had MMA pause the game again. And then he suddenly writes...
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what he wants to express with this, but whatever it is, the admin is hopefully going to solve the issue.
Yeah, I'm just trying to translate like gibberish into Korean and then translate Korean into English, and I'm just going to give up right now and wait until they're ready, because it's like, it's too much thinking for my brain, because capital letters even mean different things than lowercase letters. I'm like, The thing is, if you're Korean, actually, when you see these letters, your mind just like instantly kind of clicks with it most of the time, so you can tell what's being read. But for me, like I start thinking about D's as if they're Korean D sound, and it's yeah.
But we have
MMA actually is fluent, like in a different language that we just don't know.
Oh my god! And he pauses again. So they start the game, and immediately he pauses again.
He says go. And
now it's an error. I feel we kind of had it all.
Yeah. Well, I just typed 3 question marks in the chat because I'm a little bit confused. He says he can't click on his SCV.
He's probably... No, his opponent is not playing Terran. I would just rehost the game.
I think we might have to do that.
Probably the easiest way to do it. How do we always end up in these scenarios?
I don't know. It's just only us.
We're the masters of killing time, I feel.
Yeah, I mean,
it's getting a little bit awkward. Do you think it's our fault?
I don't think it's our fault, but it does get a little bit weird.
We saw yesterday once again the Atosis curse in action. I mean, it's a real thing now. It's not like a rumor or anything. Atosis putting his foot down. He's like, Tasia. No way. And then Tasia is like, oh yeah, and I'm gonna do this.
He wins on Whirlwind even to start things off.
Exactly, such a great series.
Such a crazy series.
Do you think that's our thing?
Maybe it is.
You know, the GOM Wizard, he is, of course, responsible for all the technical equipment here, and this guy just walks into the booth. You probably have one of those guys at work. You have a problem, he walks in, he's just there, and suddenly everything works again. He leaves the room and everything breaks down.
By the way,
I feel we are the counterpart.
Yeah, I think so. We're with him. We're actually his arch nemesis.
Exactly.
By the way, they're talking about how we could just resume from replay, and I forgot about that. We could actually just leave the game right now and resume from replay.
Okay, but why do we resume from a replay that went on for 2 minutes? The barracks isn't even done. Is that really...
I mean, I think we should. I mean, that's the thing. I actually talked to somebody about this. Maybe it was Doa. I don't remember who it was. And they're like, well, sometimes there should just be regames and not resume from replay because of technical problems. I'm like, yeah, I guess you have to decide, because if this affected his builder up until now, then you have to have a totally new game. But
I love how he types like.
yeah, but he types like some part in like Korean sounds, and we're gonna have a regame, or at least a resume.
It's really
from replay.
funny. Like he writes completely normal. And then suddenly there comes this line of gibberish down there. It's like it doesn't make any sense at all. Not even in Korean or anything. It's just like so weird.
Well, it's if he had the Hangul input fixed, then it would have been.
By the way, guys, while we have this break, I have to plug this. I'm sorry. I tweeted a picture yesterday that perfectly shows why sometimes Korean into English and Konglish and everything is hilarious. It is crazy. If you have a spare few minutes while we're doing this, then go to Twitter, check out @Kaldor, and go. I think it's actually my last tweet, or 2 or 3 tweets down. I posted a picture of a list of cocktails that are sold here in Korea. Not only are the names really funny, but if you go down this list, one of those sticks out a little bit.
Yeah,
and
I saw this last night.
It's pretty cool. I could not stop laughing for like half an hour. It was brilliant. It was a perfect example where this translation from Korean into English forth and back is sometimes just priceless.
Yeah, it's priceless is a good way to describe it. Yeah. So I asked if we're going to regame or resume from replay, and it's going to be resumed from replay. I can see they're in the replay lobby, and I can just join that because I'm Real ID friends with the lobby host. So how this works, actually, for those of you guys who have not done this before, because I've done this a few times, I've tested, is you bring all the original players in, and before you do that, you go to the replay, you right-click, and you say recover. I think it's recover game. Bring everyone who was originally in the game back in, and all you have to do is hit start. It goes, there's a new countdown that counts down from 3, I think, slowly, and then the game resumes just like it had never had a problem in the first place.
Then let's hope that MMA was able to fix his problem, that it's not somehow embedded in the game.
I feel like
he clicks SCVs again, and then he just jumps up and throws his keyboard at the booth, and he's like, I'm done.
I feel like what's going to happen is we're going to get in the game, and he's going to immediately pause. Like, that's my prediction. and then they're going to be like, what's wrong? And he's going to be like, nothing. But
nothing.
He's like, nothing. I'm not sure if I can click my SCV. It's like, did you try? He's like, hold on. Then he like types a bunch of gibberish, and then
okay, they're both ready.
Yeah.
No gibberish this time.
No gibberish.
We're good guys.
All right, so countdown is starting. We're gonna get back into this. Resumed from replay, history in the making right now. It's actually happening.
Maybe we have now another episode of Pausing with MMA, or we have the 4th game at the GSTL Pre-Season match between LGIM and Acer Axiom. One of the 2 things will happen, and
yeah, we have to go to the end of the replay first.
Yeah, so the replay is now fast forwarding, and everything looking good.
Yep, times 8. Nothing lost, nothing scouted. So if we had to have a regame, it would be fine. And we're nearing the complete.
Well, it slows down currently, but so far we just have a laggy screen and nothing else. I'm not quite sure if this feature is ready yet, Wolf.
Well, we went to the 2:16-minute mark.
Oh, this is just too good. All right. Okay, so guys, we are currently looking at a screen that is completely frozen.
So the problem is they're actually saying in chat now, they must have done something wrong with how they host the replay, because what they're saying in chat now is they can see the build orders. So they didn't do the resume from replay build correctly. They actually just opened a replay, and they were going to set the players as the thing. They didn't know how to do it. So now actually all the builds are shown.
Okay, so that basically means that at this point Ragnarok knows that MMA opened with gas.
Yeah, so this is actually a very serious issue now, because he's seen the gas. They didn't use the correct feature. They did not. They hosted a replay. They did not host a recovered replay. And now we have the issue of, do they regame now, or I'm sure MMA is going to be very unhappy with the situation.
Yeah, I fear this could drag on a little bit. So
they're going to regame.
They're going to regame.
That's what
the
they
whole
decided.
thing. Okay, but still, this is not really what you want.
Yeah, this is actually. I mean, we were joking a lot, but now this is a very serious issue because he's shown the builds.
Yeah. So honestly, what do you expect as Ragnarok? You expect gas, but does your opponent really pull it off? You don't know, so you have to build up for all the eventualities. Now, suddenly he knew that in game number 1 he was trying to go for a gas and then right into the barracks aggression. And for MMA, this is of course really unfortunate now, because
He's got to be pissed, you know, that his build is shown now.
And MMA has to be like, well, do I do it again and just be like, okay, well, it's going to work? Do I try to just mind game you and play a different opening?
Exactly. That's what we're going to wait and see. That was kind of an unfortunate circumstance, but I think GOM has probably learned the lesson of now how to start replays, recover.
This is also why the GSTL Pre-Season is awesome. Not only for the teams and for the players, getting a little bit of experience, it's also good for us. This will probably never happen again, so...
It's very important. In fact, next time this happens, I'm going to like take my headset off and go and make sure they do the right thing so this doesn't happen ever again, because this is actually really serious. Imagine if this happened in like a proxy Stargate game or something, how crazy that would be. So it's like entirely newly hosted lobby, it looks like here.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're seeing now.
So the game will be completely redone. This is really unfortunate for only one person, MMA.
What would you do?
I would do the same build, because I've been practicing it, I planned it, and if you do anything else, then it gets into your head. It's already in your opponent's head, and he has to think about this. Is he going to do the same build or not?
Exactly. Both are thinking about it. So what, of course, now goes through Ragnarok's head is he trying to mind game me? Is he going for the same build again? Do I just blindly prepare for this, or do I just do something, or do I just play from scratch and try to scout and find out what's going on? But I completely agree with you. I would do the same thing. If I'm MMA, I'm playing the same style, and I'm like, you keep guessing, I'm happy with my build, I'm going to execute it, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah. Well, it looks like they're getting ready to go here. Last person to join is a second Axiom-Acer.
Yeah, we had that account in the lobby earlier already. Not quite sure who that is, but, well.
I don't know. I guess we're going to wait for them, but... You know, this has just been a kind of a weird situation going to... hopefully things will normalize once this game loads. And, yeah,
but it's good that it happens now. Think about that.
Yeah, seriously, you're right.
Like, half a year from now, we are, let's say, in Las Vegas again. It's Prime. They're playing against StarTale. You have the most important match ever, and then suddenly, on the stage, in the final, bam, this happens. Not again.
Yeah, not again.
Put my fist on it. No. I did this once, not twice.
Yeah, this will not happen ever again. Yeah. I mean, this is the first step. Now we have the first step, which is test the feature. That failed. But the second step is now I know how to use the feature. After this, there's going to be
Quality
some homework.
Control.
Exactly. I don't know if we're going to have another fly-in intro or not, but...
I have no idea, but we are ready for the game, guys. We have Ragnarok versus MMA. This time it's for real. We're in the game already. Let's introduce our two players. I hope that we have an intro. If not, we are going to do the honors. Starting to the top left, he could go for the all-kill, the first all-kill in the GSTL season, and then, of course, in Heart of the Swarm. It is...
LGIM, Ragnarok.
At least Ken doesn't let us down here.
Yeah. Ken, no bugs. They tested Ken.
Yeah. Ken is bug tested. And of course he also knows how the player at the bottom, or who the player at the bottom right is and how he's pronounced. He's starting for Axiom-Acer. It is...
Acer MMA.
MMA is looking sad.
Yeah, well, I'd actually just be really angry if this had happened to me. Especially since this is basically my first debut game since my team disbanded. I joined a new team. I want to make a name for them. I am the only representative of Acer here today. Scarlett's not here right now. And suddenly my gas has been shown due to a technical difficulty, a mistake of the administrators. Yeah. He goes for gas again.
And I completely agree with you. I would also be a little bit upset if that would happen to me. It's always very, very annoying. And yeah, as you said, we have the same build. So he's going to do exactly the same thing that we already suggested. Stick with his guns, go into this gas build, and also for Ragnarok, there is no difference here in how he opens up.
Yeah. You know, he's actually going for a... drone scout again. He's just being very careful. And this is usually what happens when you have a regame. Both players do the same thing, and the player who saw the tech, if it occurs that way, will usually scout even more carefully than they did in the first game, because now they don't know. They know the possibility is there. This SCV is actually trapped on the outside, so if the drone micros well, he can kill him. Nicely done. He does chase him away.
Okay, so there's the Reaper now, and this is exactly what we talked about quite a lot. So I feel this is like one of the first times that Ragnarok has to really prove himself against these strategies or these issues that Zerg is having in this matchup. We had a lot of Zerg wins, some of them by Ragnarok, some of them by other players, but most of them against strategies against late game Terran players. The problem, as mentioned before, we're going to highlight this once again. Zerg players just issue that the problem is in this matchup when your opponent opens up with 2 to 3 Reapers or even more, that you have a hard time doing something against it in the early game. The reason why is that now Reapers are faster. They are faster than Zerglings on creep, and also of course faster than Queens. So up to the point where you have finally your speed or a Roach Warren, you cannot really do anything against them if the Terran player micros really well.
Yeah. You can see he starts 2 additional links immediately after seeing this. He has the first 4 that you normally make in all matchups as a Zerg player. Then he starts 2 more because he's like, well, I need to have as many as I can to delay this at the very least. And this is going to be the last Reaper we see. The second one that comes across the map is the final one. So he's just going to transition. He's now getting his command center on the low ground because he has this pressure up. He doesn't have to worry about anything. And Reapers take forever to kill a drone. That's true. This is something that people have talked about quite a bit online and on the forums. But it doesn't matter because the damage has been done. He's also scouted a lot. He's forced 2 additional lings. That's 1 drone that his opponent doesn't have.
Exactly. You force the lings, you get the scouting information, you have a constant presence in your opponent's base. You control the map and you control the pace of the game.
And that's if it goes perfectly for the Zerg. Otherwise, you're going to lose a few lings and you're going to lose a few drones if you don't micro really well and be calm against this. If you panic, you make a mistake, then the Reapers are going to kill some of your stuff. He's actually getting a 3rd command center very early as well, so just a little bit of pressure. And notice how you can micro the Reapers back, have them heal, and then keep the Queen's attention on you. He starts Widow Mines now, and he may set up a contain with the Widow Mines this early.
Yeah, he might actually do that. He could use them defensively, and this is just him playing this really well, using those those strong strategies that you have. Going in again, setting up the scout. He knows about the gas timings, knows that so far the extractors are just being built at the natural, by the way.
That's really cool that we see the Zerg player making them at the natural because he knows the Reaper could scout at any moment, the main base. I really, really like that. And the Widow Mines are going across the map. Ooh, a bit sloppy, loses a Reaper. And this really limits how much pressure he can put on against the creep. But these 2 Widow Mines, when they get there, if they connect with the Queens, this is going to be a big problem. Not only is this going to deny the creep, delay the creep, whatever you want to call it, it's also going to become a really big problem for him moving out ever.
And also, what I have to say is that Ragnarok is defending really, really well against this.
Spore is started immediately upon seeing the Widow Mine.
Normally, what you have, like, every single time is the Zerg player at least losing 1 drone, maybe even 2. But he controls his unit so well that MMA did not really take down any Harvesters.
Yeah.
He did, of course, do what we talked about earlier with the scouting information and the pressure. But this is a great defense by Ragnarok.
Just really nice targeting by MMA, by the way, hitting those tumors with the Reaper, shutting them down. The creep is way further back than it would be normally. It's so contained right now. You can see there's so many tumors just waiting to move forward because he hasn't been able to do that. He has to move the Spore Crawler carefully forward as well just because of those Widow Mines.
And think about what one of the biggest problems was for Terran players when in Wings of Liberty, I think in the 2nd quarter, this major patch came out that it helped the Queen so much. It was controlling creep spread. Suddenly, Terran wasn't able to do that anymore. Zerg could just spread the creep with the help of the Queens, and now with how MMA did this, he was at least able to delay it.
Yeah. And if the response had not been so patient, he would have potentially lost a Queen to those Widow Mines, but he very patiently moved the Spore Crawler forward. And this is actually forcing multitasking from both players. The Spore has to be moved meticulously forward, and the same is true of his units. But he has to be careful because he can't move the Spore Crawler in 2 directions now.
And now it's getting very interesting since Ragnarok is going into Spire play. He wants to have Mutalisks out there. With Widow Mines in the game, we are now in a situation where the Widow Mines could do a lot here. It all comes down to the positioning. Will we see an Overseer for Ragnarok? Is he gonna scout where his Mutalisks fly? If they clump up and those Widow Mines get active, things can spiral out of control very fast.
Yeah, he needs to make sure MMA is that he sees the Spire tech as well. It's very late information for him right now. He doesn't know. And this is really scary because he doesn't have turrets. He doesn't have Widow Mines at home. His armory is about to finish. He could make a Thor, but that's not ideal. In fact, he does have the ability to make turrets. He's still not doing it. He's playing this a little bit riskily.
Yeah, there's the Overseer, already trying to make sure that those Widow Mines have to retreat. Again, he could use it out therefore with his main army. There come the Mutalisks. Hellion still trying to control the creep. MMA back home with his bases. No turrets just yet. 1-1, nearly done though.
Yeah, no scouting either. He still has no idea about the Mutalisk, and this is going to potentially hurt him. He's going to need turrets set up, or at the very least Widow Mines, probably both, especially if it's a heavy commitment to Mutas. Oh, look at this Reaper sneaking around.
And where will the Mutalisk fight? Just think how unfortunate it would be for Ragnarok if those Mutalisks just go over one of those Widow Mines. But gonna be not scouted. Oh, maybe. Yes, he saw them.
He saw him. Excellent for him.
It's actually funny if you think about it. Those queens pushed the Reaper to the top of the map, and without the queens, he wouldn't have spotted them.
Yeah, it's... you could think of it as a mistake, but it's just ironic, really. He can now change his Hellions into Hellbats and heal them because a lot of them are low on hit points. Finds 3 isolated SCVs, and if he didn't see them before, he certainly sees them now. And
no, he finds 3 lazy SCVs, and they get punished for not doing the job.
I don't know if he saw it because he's only just now starting turrets, and they're way too late. So many SCVs going down here. Even a late pull. No cancel on the turret. He tries to trap these Mutas. Really nice start set, but still with that acceleration. Oh, he wants blood. He's chasing those Mutas.
Yeah, he's going down now, trying to make sure that
but now he's trapped on the outside, and the Mutas come back.
Exactly, the Mutalisks are back, and they are going in for the kill now at the natural. There is 1 turret. He can't do more damage than he already did, but 9 Harvesters were going down, and he's in the main base again.
And he may get away. I think he will get away with all but 1. Oh, wow, even that one escapes. Really nice controller. He's going to hit this turret as well. Ooh.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even take down the SCV. Nope, he gets it.
Nice cancel there by MMA. But great multitasking by both players. I never felt such a rush as when I watched this Mutas run out, and then he boosts the medevac and chases them. That was insane.
13. He took down 13 Harvesters. Well done here. And Ragnarok takes a supply lead, has a decent economy, is getting his 4th base up already. MMA on 3 bases is going into +2/+2 upgrade-wise. He is so far ahead, or will be, of Ragnarok.
He's also got that very nice 3rd base going. We have the infestation pit done. I think this would be a good situation actually for Swarm Hosts if he wants them. But it turns out he's going to go into Hive for those Vipers, it looks like.
And also, of course, the option of going into Brood Ultralisks again. And MMA doesn't take any chances. The amount of missile turrets that we currently see for MMA is crazy. This is exactly what he needs. This is really cool.
Yeah, 4 turrets at his exposed base. The base that only has 1 turret is now adding 3 more, so he's going to have 4 here too. The Marines are ready to defend. Nice pickoff though, he gets an SCV, and the Mutas are just so much more versatile in this new expansion.
Yeah, they also heal a lot faster. So that really helps him quite a bit. +3 attack already started. MMA is an entire set of upgrades ahead of his opponent, and ouch!
Yeah, that one connects, but no kills. I don't think he got one.
No,
just damaging him. And at this moment in time, he needs to do something against this Terran army because it's getting really strong. The upgrades, as you mentioned, are insanely ahead.
Where is the Vin Diesel upgrade? He doesn't use it.
He must have used it before.
Yeah, I think so too.
And that's kind of one of those decisions you have to make when you move out with the medevac. If you use it too soon while you're going in and you get found, then you can't use it to retreat. Mutas are just ruling this map right now. Nothing escapes their eye.
Yeah, and also once more, Ragnarok with his creep spread really meticulous, and here comes this army. Zerglings and Banelings trying to set up a flank against MMA's forward push with 126 Zerglings. This is a lot. He lost a lot of those just a second ago. Maybe the Widowmine got active again.
Yeah, it's possible. It looks like it's been killed, so I can't check. But
yeah, 20 kills on the Widowmine, so the Widowmine is able to take down 19 Zerglings.
And this, a little attack over here with the Hellions and the Marauders is very positional. He's able to pick off just a few side drones. Still a little bit surprised not to see the transformation of those into... Oh, wow, this is on the patch. This game is on the patch. You can't actually make them into Hellbats without the research. The research is actually in.
That would have been useful information.
I did not know that that was the case.
This explains also why we didn't see those Hellbats earlier.
Yeah, that explains it a lot. I just clicked on it and it was like, oh, it doesn't have research. Well, this is a good shutdown here by Ragnarok. Yeah. He's actually forced the entire army back.
And just to give you here a little bit of a heads up, we are on a separate server, guys. This is not a server that is accessible to everyone. Yep. So this does not always run the same patch version. We had the same issue just in the last team match.
This is potentially deadly for MMA right now. He doesn't have a lot set up. The tanks are late on the siege. You have to drop them out of the medevacs. Those Banelings are not getting very good hits, but regardless, this is such a large Zerg army pushing through. The upgrades for MMA is what's really keeping him alive, but is it going to keep him alive forever? It starts to seem like it's not.
MMA is now down to 110 supply. The Lings on the main base taking out Marines, going for those siege tanks. We have a drop though at the top where Axiom-Acer's MMA is trying to take down another base of Ragnarok.
He may yet get it. A few Lings clean this up. The Vipers are ready to help out. And with this many Vipers, he has 7. The next attack is going to be probably 7 times scarier. The Medevac's not going anywhere. This is almost comical at this point. He's watching that Medevac. Medevac's not going anywhere. He just keeps eating that hatch. He doesn't want to eat that hatch too much, though. In fact, he may kill his own hatchery if he's not careful.
Yeah, and here you go again. Abduct, you stay here, buddy. You don't go anywhere today.
Yeah.
Delaying it a little bit. But here comes another drop. Once again, MMA is really going for the drop play now.
Yeah,
his
he
macro
really
is kicking in, and his multitasking is really strong.
It's totally spot on right now. Wow, look at that.
Here's him on the high ground.
Yeah, 2 Marines on the high ground here. Very annoying for the Ultralisk. He yanks him down! Oh,
I love it.
Oh, that was definitely a photography-worthy moment. If I were out there, man, I would have caught that on camera.
That was brilliant. That was pretty cool. With that picture, you can actually win a prize.
Yeah. A scan goes down right now. He's clearing up some of the creep. The problem for Ragnarok is he lost a lot of mining. He almost lost that base, and he just doesn't have mutas anymore. He can grab the drops all he wants, but he needs to kill them because they're becoming a problem. He's going to kill his queen with 2 Marines in the main base.
Yeah.
And the hatchery is still low on hit points at the top right. At any time, you could just snipe it easily with the drop.
MMA did not only take a supply lead, he took charge of this game. This guy is doing such a great job here. I'm really, really impressed. I mean, this is looking so good for him now. He's going now for the upgrade for his Widow Mines. We have him also with another command center that he's currently building, trying to just boost his economy a little bit more. He is up against the Ultralisks now, and this is going to be the issue. How can he deal with them?
Exactly, and I think part of the answer to that may be in some of these Widow Mines, but he needs to get them out. Right now, he only has 7 siege tanks. He's making 2 at a time. He's getting 2 additional factories. You know, both of his factories have queued up 3 siege tanks on them each. Their production is backed up right now. He needs those extra production facilities. He's making them now, but they're a little bit late, so they're not ready yet to deal with the Ultras. The Ultras, if they engage now, can deny another base.
Yeah. Ultralists showed in the game against Hard their strength when Ragnarok was playing. Now they are up against another opponent, against Acer's MMA. Can he pull this off? Abduct always being used here into the Spore Crawler.
Look at this 6 siege tank drop to the top of the map.
Oh, this reminds
You guys will get a shot of it, man. This is nuts. Look at that.
This is Lost Temple.
Yeah.
This is Lost Temple, what we had in Wings of Liberty.
Blinding Cloud saves the base, and he just grabs those siege tanks down. Sorry, Medevac, you're not going anywhere. He needs some Corruptors, maybe.
Well, Wind Diesel and his Norse package, they were able to save the Medevac for now. But I love that we have Abduct now in this scenario. On Lost Temple, back in Rings of Liberty, there were so many strategies where a Terran player just drop a tank or a Thor on the high ground at your natural and could take it down. This time MMA is trying to do something similar, but Ragnarok already has Vipers in the game, and they help him to solve this problem.
Yeah, they're helping out quite a bit. 6, 7 bunkers going down for MMA, who is now making 4 Widow Mines at a time. Going to put him up to a total of 7 when he finishes those. Is going into turtle mode against these Ultras. He is not going to fight these if he doesn't have to.
And here comes immediately the Abduct trying to grab those siege tanks. Here comes Ragnarok. All those Ultralists are on the move. Another Abduct gets the siege tank.
He needs to hit another Blinding Cloud, though. The Marines are not underneath it anymore.
Yeah.
And that was actually a decent trade for MMA at the end of the day. His wall really helped him win that fight. And the bunkers to the top right, still empty and a little bit mysterious.
And MMA is still continuing his Widowmine production, so for now the threat of the Ultralisk has been negated. He is able to get himself another base with all the bunkers that he still has. He can use them. He's going into +3 attack upgrade for the siege tanks. And this is now a scenario where Ragnarok is looking at it like, the last time I used my Ultralisk, it worked so well. Now I even had them with the Vipers for the Abduct, and that worked quite well. But for some reason, this guy still defies me.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's still hanging on here. Oh, look at that. There's a new design on the watchtower in the middle of the map. It looks pretty cool. But these bunkers are really going to help him out here. He has the building
right,
armor
though.
and Neo Steel.
Top right, we have a drop. We have another drop here to the left side of the map. Double drop at the expansions, trying to cut out the economy.
Not a lot of
Ragnarok.
wings on the map anymore to defend this. He's got to make some anti-air here. He starts 4 Corruptors, but that's for his Broodlords. But I feel even adding 5 Mutas into the map would help him out against these drops quite significantly. Now a drop in the main base.
The drops are everywhere, and he's hitting the stim again. Now we have another drop to the bottom right. He just dropped how many mules
10
is
mules on one base. Wow. His economy, his income is going to skyrocket. He actually goes up to 2,400 minerals per minute from like 1,600.
Frame upgrade also being researched, and once again, the siege tank on the high ground, but a duck is ready.
Siege tank ended up on a milk carton somewhere.
Viper to the rescue.
I have to say, this is really interesting watching the new tools that these two players have with the map.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Now Neo Steel Frame is going to be done. So against Ultras, maybe Neo Steel Frame will become a thing, but it's going to allow him to put 2 additional slots in each one of these bunkers. So the upgrade is finished, as you guys can see there.
Yeah,
those bunkers very unusual. Yeah, building armor going to help out with the bunkers, the planetary.
I love this Wolf. I really like this.
This is an exciting game that we're watching. The Ultralisk count is getting pretty high. He's got 14 Ultralists on the map with Broodlords now coming in.
Yeah, he has a ton of them. And I mentioned this earlier when we had the game between Hart and Ragnarok. One of the things that you can do in a very late game scenario is you can go for a Sky Terran. And this is what MMA is currently trying to do. He's already researching or building additional starports, and with the bank that he has, especially the gas, he can pull that off.
Yeah. By the way, we have Widow Mines everywhere. Sets of 4 Widow Mines being placed around the map. He also has the Widow Mines with the bunkers. I feel like we're on... Oh! 15 kills.
Yeah, 15 kills on that Widow Mine. Harvesters killed in general just over the course of this game for both players. 45 by MMA and 29 by Ragnarok.
This looks like Jimmy trying to hold off the artifact on the last mission of the campaign on Brutal with all these Widow Mines, Neo Steel Frame bunkers, all the Ultras, the Broodlords coming across.
I would have loved to have Widow Mines in that mission.
Me too, man. That's exactly what I was going to say next. There are not a single Viking. There's no Vikings on the map to deal with these Broodlords, so this is going to become an issue very quickly. He also doesn't have any Thors.
Who needs Vikings when you have Widow Mines?
If they can get close enough.
Yeah.
You know, the bunkers are holding their own for a little bit, but he doesn't have...
He needs to repair them.
Yeah. The Broodlords are actually getting a little bit too close to those Widow Mines. One shot did go off.
But we have the Ultalists also moving in, and this is where MMA is trying to turn things around. But still, all those Broodlords are pressuring those bunkers, and we don't have SCVs repairing them. They're moving in right now into the range of the Widow Mine.
Yeah, the Widow Mines, though, firing on Broodlings a little bit here. Broodling's usually dying so fast they don't activate, but in this case he is. Scan goes off here, he sees how many Broodlords that is exactly, and he knows he can't deal with it. Not until he has those Vikings. He's making 5 at a time. The Planetary with the Widow Mines together will hold this off long enough for him to get a few Vikings out, but this is a dire situation for MMA right now.
The Widow Mines are moving in and trying to get close enough, but we also have the Vikings now, as mentioned. Vikings and upgrades for air, that's what he's currently getting. The Widow Mines are moving in, here come all those Ultralisks.
Getting some hits off the
Planetary is gone.
Planetary goes down. The Broodlord's getting low on hit points, though, because of those Widow Mines. The Vikings are easily going to be able to come in here and clean them up. How many Corruptors does he have? He has 8 Corruptors right now, with 4 more on the way. Corruptors all in full health right now, none of them taking Widow Mine damage.
These Widow Mines are so annoying, though. They are still alive and they still do damage. The cooldown will soon be done again, and all the reinforcements will be trapped. Here come those Corruptors trying to take down the Vikings. There are not enough anti-air units for MMA just yet.
The Corruptors taking here. 2 Queens get snapped down by those Widow Mines. The Overseer, though, will finally clean these up.
MMA is trying to get more Vikings into the game. Now he's fighting the Corruptors, but at the ground, we still have Ultras going in the storm.
Yeah, but the Ultras can't fight against this composition, against the building wall. He has to clear the building wall with his Broodlords first and then fight. As you can see, the Marines mop up those Ultras so fast.
And all the incoming, you just saw this on screen, the incoming Corruptors, they get hits by the Widow Mines. Perfect placement here by MMA.
Really excellently done.
Exactly where he has to be.
And, you know, I think he's going to push this back. He's going to kill the final of the Corruptors. Their production is not as fast. He has that Defender's advantage. The Broodlords are starting to be attacked. Command Center lives a little bit longer. He's done it.
A much better economy for MMA. Ragnarok lost so much, and there
GG.
is GG. MMA. He pulls it off again. He won against Ragnarok in the IPL Korean qualifier, and he defeated him again here at the GSTL.
Really well played by MMA. Just patience, a lot of turtling, but he did what he needed to do to build the proper composition, and it just goes to show a lot of people making fun of that that upgrade for the Widow Mines in late game, saying it wouldn't be used, saying people wouldn't use it. Turns out you're all wrong. People are using it all the time, and it seems quite useful to have these little sets of Widow Mines around the map, even against Brood Lords of all units.
Yeah, that was really well done.
So
Guys,
Ragnarok, unfortunately, not going to get the first all kill here today.
Yeah. Before we head into the next match, I want to point something out. I want to apologize here. There was a miscommunication with production. We did not know that this server that we have is already on the new patch, where we have this change to the Hellbat. So this also explains a lot about game number 1 and 2, where we saw Zerg versus Terran, where we didn't see the Hellbats. So my apologies, guys. I hope you enjoyed the games anyways.
Yeah, I actually even went in and checked help to see if it was required. And you saw me, so I guess it's not updated in the tooltip on help.
Yeah, apparently the tooltip in this version that we have here is not updated, because before we came in today and we actually checked because we weren't sure.
Yeah, it's important, it's really important.
Yeah, of course it is. That's why we talked about it the entire time. We're wondering, why don't they do that? So the tooltips are actually not updated in this version. This is how this mistake happened, and we apologize for it. In the last game we found it out, and we didn't see Hellbats, but we did see the Reapers. Ragnarok defended very well against them. In the end, we had MMA take the win, though, in a great game. Very entertaining series.
Really well done. And now, finally, LGIM has to send somebody else out. Is it going to be a Protoss? Are we going to see Seed?
I want to see Seed.
I want to see him, too. But we could see the other Protoss player, the new Protoss player, Ruin instead.
Exactly. Maybe Ruin first. Actually, thinking about it, I think in a situation like this,
they probably will. I mean, just knowing the IM coach, he likes to do this.
It's the GSTL Pre-Season. You are up 3-1. You will send out Seed anyways. One of the players that you have thought about is definitely Ruin. You want to give him the experience. And when do you give him the experience? Not in the GSTL season. You want to do it now. It's probably going to be him.
Sitting at top right, I'm pretty sure that's him.
Has to be him.
Yep, it's him.
Yeah.
Ruin.
Ruin is the next player as expected.
And this is a cool choice. We're going to see Protoss versus Zerg, so shifting gears a little bit now into a different matchup. Protoss versus Terran, excuse me. Not Protoss versus Zerg.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, because this is one of the things that we haven't seen today.
Yeah. Well, it's the new guy. His Heart of the Storm experience listed as 50. Code B, someone we have never seen. This is his first time sitting in the booth, and that's always kind of a little bit... It can be a little bit shocking to, have that feeling for the first time being in the booth if you never played StarCraft 1 competitively.
Oh, look at him. He's actually a little bit nervous.
You know what? You know who he reminds me of? Just looking at him in the booth there. It looks like the first time I saw Polt sit in the booth, man. That's what he looks. He reminds me of Polt.
I think you need glasses.
I'm just looking at him. I'm like, it reminds me of Polt.
Okay,
because
this time I don't see it.
I see it not only in the face, but just like in how he smiles there, and how he's clearly nervous, but he's trying not to show it. Just reminds me of Polt. Back in the day, Polt was a casual Warcraft 3 player who then became a competitive player and even dropped out of the most famous university in all of Seoul to play StarCraft. But this guy's he's a newbie now. Yeah, see what he's going to do.
He definitely is, and he has to get some experience here, also try to take down MMA. He's up against a strong opponent, and nobody is going to blame him if he is not able to succeed here, but it's important to give him a little bit of experience in the booth, to set him in there, like, okay, this is what it's like, try to get used to it, try to play your best, try to just don't get affected by your environment, and we will send you out a couple of times, completely fine if you're nervous here and if you don't play your best, but just try to get used to the environment.
Yeah. It's really important, and this is something the LGIM coach has stressed over and over and over again in interviews, about how his team is really close-knit, and he always wants to give new players the experience. He always will tell you, if you ask him, yeah, we have all these champions on our team, but it's more important to me that somebody who's new and lesser known goes and sits in that booth than if we have Nesty and MVP sit in the booth every game and win all of our Team League series. I want the players who practice, who train hard, to have the same opportunity to go down into the booth and play some games.
Yeah. I just think that sometimes it's really, you have to find the right balance, and I feel in the past LGIM has missed this balance a couple of times.
Yeah.
They have to just start out, just send a few of those players in and get the early points, and then can do something like this. In MMA, I'm not quite sure what I make of his facial expression here.
Yeah, he does not seem to be in a good mood right now.
Yeah.
We'll see how he can turn things around. Obviously playing really well last game. really extremely good decision making with his Widow Mines, how he's switching to Widow Mines temporarily so he can get that base up. You know, he's waiting for that one moment where he finally ends that base. He drops all of his mules at once. He's like, all right, I got this base now. Now I can make the Vikings. I need to defend your Broodlords. Now I've got the economy.
He's also now playing in the matchup where he lost at the IPL qualifier. He lost to First back then. Of course, this is an opponent it's his first time playing in the GSL, but besides from that, there's not much that they have in common. They play on the same team, I guess, but that's it.
Yeah. I mean, this guy he's just a newer guy. There's nothing MMA can do to prepare either. He's just going to have to... He's another barcode on the ladder, basically. I mean, that's how he has to look at this game.
And then you look at the rest of the players. If you're one of the players that we'll definitely see for LGIMC, we talked a lot about him today. But who's going to be the third player? Who's going to be the other player that they send out? Will we already see MC? I kind of doubt it.
I don't think we see MC today.
ST, I don't really think
not on
so
the preseason.
Yal maybe. So. He's strong. We could see MVP.
Yal MVP. MVP's had a lot of time recently. Yal would be a good choice as well. But we have to get there first, you know. Ruin may ruin Axiom-Acer's opening performance here. MMA already able to take one win, but he has to get the reverse all kill if he wants his team to go to the round of 4.
You know, this is actually such a cool nickname. I didn't even think about this. All those new puns, Wolf. How am I going to deal with that?
We are... I mean, on top of it all, he's an IM player, so there's always what comes with that as well.
And think about what happens when we have Ruin against Fantasy. Ruin against Dream.
Yeah. Ruin against... Oh my god, I don't know, you took the good ones.
Oh, I got one. Ruin versus Sleep. There you go.
Ruin versus Reality.
Yeah.
That one wasn't as good, but... Still, yeah. I'm like...
The potential alone.
I'm like, Ruin versus Crank? You're like, Ruin versus MMA? That's what we're going to see.
We don't want to ruin MMA. MMA is pretty good and fun to watch.
I'm liking the song that we have here. I'm also liking the new music, background music. I'm sure you guys have noticed Heartless Storm has some additional tracks for background that were not in Wings of Liberty. Really enjoy that.
Yeah, what we also enjoy is the loading screen now, because we are heading into the game. Currently, the bottleneck is our computer here at the observer desk.
Yeah, it's my fault, I guess.
Yeah, you jinxed it. I don't. It's our aura.
You know,
it's just us. We are creating these pauses so that we can talk about unimportant stuff.
Exactly. You know what? One of the worst feelings you could ever have as a player in the booth is when you're psyched up, your heart is pumping, especially if you're right now Ruin is your first time in the booth and you're ready to go and you're just ready to hit that first pro button, but you have to sit here and look at this bar and your bar is already done. It could start at any moment. It could start right now. It could start right now. Yeah. You know, at any moment he's gonna have to make that first pro, but he's actually just sitting there.
But you know, sometimes it helps you if it's a little bit delayed. I remember when I took my the exam for the practical exam for my driver's license. I was supposed to come in, I think, at like 9 or 8 in the morning. I was so nervous. I was shaking. I was like, well, I got this down. So the system in Germany is a little bit different than the system in the US. But in the end, you have to take the exam and everything, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. And you sit there, and I was so nervous. And they made me wait for like 4 hours. So I'm just standing there, like in the end, I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm tired. I want to go home. Leave me alone. Don't talk to me. When does it finally start? Even if I fail, I don't care anymore. I just want to go home and eat. And yeah, and then
you passed and they went home at 8.
Exactly.
It was
I passed. It was absolutely easy. But I feel if they would have started me right at the beginning, I would probably have
there's this weird feeling.
It's the same, I feel.
Yeah. By the way, I guess I have to. I'm scared to leave because I think it's me that has to leave. But the thing is, I don't know the login they use on the server, so I'm like,
oh, you're loading.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we
tie score.
Okay, Wolf tied the game. Yeah, we're good to go with the regame. Yeah. And I feel the lobby is probably already up.
Resume from replay?
I don't think so. This 1 second that the game was live did probably not affect the players, and yeah, we don't want to reveal build orders. He moved his SCV already. Yeah, actually auto move, so...
By the way, going back to your story, I remember taking my exam as well. In America, it's much easier to pass. In fact,
yeah, we talked about this already.
You can basically wear a blindfold and get through. But I was still nervous. You know, it was actually that day was the first day I drove by myself before that, you know, like just practicing on my own. And there's like this feeling of there's like this slight feeling of fear, even if you're like there with your father. And you know, at the time I think I was 17. I was older than even you could have done it. You can do it when you're 16 in America. So I remember actually being in the car being by myself. I'm like, nothing is different, really. Like my father was never like, all right, turn now. You're turning too hard. But I was like,
The
I was a little
safety net
bit
is
stressed
gone.
out. Yeah, I was a little bit stressed out. I was like, this is different somehow. But then the next day it felt really nice because I don't have my mother, you're driving too fast all the time.
I was so happy when I finally could drive on my own because they always made us like grab the wheel with 2 hands and be like really awkward with this, and I'm like, this is weird. I don't know, it feels just much more natural to me to hold it with 1 hand. And not like gangster style or anything, like, hey, yo.
No, actually, same. Because if you hold with 2 hands, for me, it always feels more forced. But if I have 1 hand, I feel I can balance the wheel actually a lot better.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if my grandmother does that with 2 hands, that's completely fine. If she just only grabs it with 1 and the arthritis in the left hand or whatever, then I feel a little bit awkward sitting in the passenger seat. But I felt a lot better when I could finally drive on my own.
Well, yeah, I mean, with my mother always concerning about my hand movements and the speed and all this, I actually made an agreement with her before I took the exam. I said, if I take the exam, you will drive home for me, even though I have my license, because I will never drive with you in the passenger seat ever again.
Oh, I can so understand that. Driving with parents is the most horrible thing ever. They are worried for you and they want your safety and everything, so everything that you do, they look at it and they're like, oh my god, you can't do it like this.
You shouldn't be talking on the phone. I'm like, Mom, on the way here you were talking on the phone with Grandma, you wouldn't shut up. But like, now I get a call from my friends. I can't tell them I got my license. All right, what's going on here?
Well, what's going on is that we finally restarted the game, so we're jumping into the match right now. This time it's not our fault. The players are ready. We are ready too. Maybe we have to wait for Legend in a few seconds, but the game is now live and we are jumping into another match. This time we have a Protoss versus Terran for Axiom-Acer. Of course, we have MMA and his opponent is Rune, a new player for LGIM who has to prove himself not only in the booth but also to his team. We're going into the match right now here at the GSTL Pre-Season. Colin Wolf.